Fan. Hey, I know you're gonna dig this. Hey guys, it's none other than Anthony Mitchell, host of the End Zone Club podcast, where we have conversations that are wrapped around things we know now. We wish we knew when we were younger. Hey, we have some great news for you today, as we have a special guest in the building, as well as some more other content that we will be pushing out in the atmosphere. But before we do that, let us help you discover your potential and ultimately walk in your purpose here through the advice and words of wisdom we provide here at this podcast. So before we get ready to go live in 3, 2, 1, I want to encourage you to buckle your safety belt and let's go, starting now. Hey, first of all, before we hear from our sponsors, I want to thank you guys for taking the time to tune in to our content titled Evening with the Fellas. That's part 1 and 2. If you haven't had a chance to listen to it, I do encourage you. Take a moment, go listen. But for those of you who listen to the content, who were touched, who provided feedback, and even for other guys that listen and then turned in more content, as long as you guys are sending me audio clips, or as long as you guys are coming to our events and speaking up, I will continue to let your voices be heard. But with that said, we do have one more clip that I'm going to play in the beginning, and then we will be followed up with a special guest here in the studio with us, Mr. Breidan Vernor. Mr. Vernor, which we'll get into more details later, has been one of the young guys that has been a part of our End Zone Club platform. Has come to several football camps we've had, and him, his mom, his stepdad, and his family have all come out supported and have been integral parts in what we're building in the community. So he actually asked to come on the show. He wanted to talk. He's got some great ideas that he wants to implement in the community. So we're working with him any way we can to help him make his dreams become a reality. But by the end of this podcast, all I'm asking you guys especially to do for me, with us having a young man in the crowd, please leave great reviews for this young guy. Give him some great comments. I may add a poll to it where you guys are able to directly interact. But please do not let this young man come on here and none of you guys that are listening have anything positive to say. With that said, let's hear from our sponsors.
Hello, everyone. This is Andre Truitt, representative for Just Gifted Clothing Brand. If you have individual talent of any kind, we are talking to you. Join this clothing brand that has built a community of people that encourages others to use their gifts and talents. Man, we are the fastest growing brand that you haven't heard of yet. To find out what we're really about, just go to justgiftedclothingbrand.com. Let me spell that out for you. JUSGIFTED clothingbrand.com. One more time for you. JUSGIFTED clothingbrand.com. Talent in any way, you're just gifted.
Hey, y'all, let's put our hands together and show some love for my good buddy, who I will keep his name quiet because he didn't give me permission to use his name. Neither did he use his name in his submission. But I got to let y'all know he's a great dude. Very talented individual, way more talented than myself, man. Y'all have to check out his artwork. Great with his hands, great with kids, great with training, positive attitude, great writer, poet. So many things I could say about this guy, but let's put our hands together and receive what he's got to say.
Something I learned early on in life about manhood is that others will depend on us to lead in solving various issues that arise in our daily lives. For me, growing up in a single-parent home taught me how to become the type of person who was available to assist in solving a problem, to be ready to be strong and courageous in the face of opposition and attentive to the needs of others. Now, I was too young at the time to fully understand the importance of what was subconsciously being implemented in the developmental stages of becoming a man. Throughout those boyhood years, I would obtain many essential lessons that carried over into my now manhood through failures, hardships, and regrets. I learned that those mishaps were not my enemy, but a vital part of maturity. We must learn that failure is a part of life, that teaches us resilience, and making mistakes isn't the sum total of who we are or who we will become. You see, most every invention, piece of artwork, or anything created started from nothing, but then became something. Through trial and error, an idea becomes reality. A mistake becomes a lesson learned to then become a voice to guide others along a different and better path. Thomas Edison attempted thousands of times to create the light bulb. He said, I have not failed, I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. I say that to say this: we as men, both young and old, must become the type of person, the type of leader who is present and ready to stand in the gap for those who cannot stand on their own. We must become protectors of the innocent and providers for those that are in our lives. Now, this doesn't mean that we are called to deplete ourselves and trying to be Superman, because we are not. There must be a balance of being a leader and knowing when we are called to be led in seasons of rest. So, fellas, become a man who leads righteously with his whole heart for the betterment of those who we will encounter throughout this life. It's vital that we become this type of leader.
For an Ole Miss fan, that was great, sir. I appreciate everything you just said, and I think that speaks to and resonates with the heart of a lot of young men who are now experiencing a lot of the conditions that you've talked about. Shout out, give him, put your hands together again for my guy, super Ole Miss fan. But turning corners here, the next voice you're going to hear from is from my guy, Mr. Breidan Vernor, young man who is on the platform with us today as a special guest. But the floor is his, so just jumping into it, Mr. Breidan, if you can, give us a brief introduction, then speak to your generation, young man.
Breidan Vernor. People in my school call me Big V. 17 now. I play every position on D line, nose guard, and defensive end. I've been playing since third grade, and I hope to soon start a successful show, just like how you have yours, and see how far God can take me with that.
Well, guys, first of all, those of you who are coming into the End Zone Club podcast, typically it's my voice you hear. However, today I'm taking a step back and I'm allowing Mr. Vernor to take over my show. He reached out to me recently and said that he wanted to have a conversation with not just myself and some of the guys that participate with our annual camp. So with that being said, guys, I don't know what we have in store, but I am excited to hear from Mr. Vernor because he has been an integral part since we have come back to Tupelo, coming to every camp, having a positive attitude. Him and his mom have been great to what we're doing. So with no further ado, I'm going to be quiet, and Mr. Vernor, I'm going to turn it over to you and let you do your thing, Doc.
I do appreciate how much you and all the other coaches, Coach Matthews and all the other players have done, not only for myself, but for other young people trying to make something out of what football can be, and like how much that really can affect, even if it's not like a crazy high level player, just knowing like you're getting taught by someone that won a Super Bowl, that like can really spark something, even in the young people, because y'all do have a lot of young people that come to them camps. So, like, football can mean a lot to people. That can be a way of getting some anger out, because a lot of people do have issues, even though they don't want to talk about them, or they could just do it for the feeling. Because the feeling of football is something that you can't really duplicate, no matter how old you are, especially high school football. I really never realized how different it feels until not too long ago. I do have a stretch fracture in my ankle, so I'm probably gonna have to miss the rest of the season. But that feeling like starts coming back to you on once you finally miss that first game. So I do know that during this off season, I'm gonna work on giving everything back. And next season, my last year as a senior, I'm gonna make sure I leave everything out. And if God's will isn't for me to go play football in college, then I also make sure everything I learn from playing football that will like shape me into the man I'll become sooner or later.
Mr. Vernon, I know it's unfortunate. I didn't know you had a stress fracture. Did you ever think you'd ever see some of these obstacles that you're facing now? I'm pretty sure. I know when I was really athletic, I thought I would always be healthy. I thought I was always going to be ready to go. I never had challenges or, some stumbling blocks in my path. Did you? Did you think you'd ever have that? And if so, what do you feel like has prepared you for dealing with whatever you're facing?
Well, I did know that playing football does come with those risks, but um, no, I never really thought about how it'd be if I did get injured.
Oh, did you cry when you got hurt, or like what were your initial feelings?
It wasn't really a like a one time like like if he was in a game and one play like he got hit and like something dislocated or something. It was just over a certain amount of time, like growing and growing and until eventually it just got to that. It wasn't uh it did hurt. It does hurt though. Like usually whenever I wake up, but it all kind of did like all dawn on me at once. Once I did find out I could miss the rest of the season, even though it's only like 4 weeks, them 4 weeks can still mean a lot. I got to make do with however much time I got left.
Mm. So I know something we like to always talk about at our camps is having a plan. It's unfortunate that bad things happen to good people, but when they do, something we've always talked about is having a fall back plan for yourself. Do you have a back plan? And if so, what is it?
I've thought of a lot of them over the years, mostly to do with music, because music has a really deep like effect on my life, whether I'm going through like a hard time um or I need to get ready for a game, or even just because music has always been there for me. So I always thought about probably being a producer or maybe even a radio DJ. So I found out I got to go to business. I gotta get a business degree in college. So once I do go to college, I'm probably going to get a business degree, or I could trust trust in this and but and find some pretty good and interesting people to talk to, and hopefully they can tell some really good stories, and we have some pretty good conversations, and that starts to pick up. So eventually, I hopefully do get to talk to some pretty high named people.
The funny part about this conversation is I used to be a church musician growing up. So, I've got a great, just a wide ranging love for music. Like you would probably be surprised just how wide ranging my music love is. Like I love some of the neo soul guys and girls. I love some of the old school, and then there's some new artists I like. And with that said, I am curious because I'm gonna judge you. Who are some of your favorite artists?
Well, I do gotta from the jump start say, Michael Jackson. He's just been in my
Respect.
entire life since
Uh
I
huh.
was like me and my mom was living in Ripley, and she'd have a computer, and she'd always play Thriller and all them other videos on a DVD. So, before I say anybody else, that has to come first because his Dangerous album was my first record. I collect records, and that was my first winner. And all the stuff he does just dazzles me. Even if I've seen it like 20 times, I still notice something new with what he did. But then there's like other music too, and it's not music can like be something different. It's not doesn't you don't have to perspective to really tell you about how interesting someone can be. 'Cause I like pop, rap, neo. So I like soul, blues. I listen to like really old music. I ain't listen to new music, but some people other than Michael Jackson, that's I do listen to. I like Kanye West. I listened to a lot. Not too long ago, I started listening to Elvis, TLC, Chris Brown, uh, uh, Tupac, Kendrick, Biggie. Just stuff to. It just depends on what the feeling is, you know, and just how. And it's not all man music because women music is really good too. Like I like to listen to SZA, her, uh, Lauren Hill. Like I said,
Lauren
TLC.
Hill. You know what? I can tell just by the names you mentioned the age group your mother is. Her and I are obviously the same age group because if you say Lauryn Hill and you're talking about the miseducation of Lauryn Hill, that whole track, that's my generation. So shout out to your mom for allowing you to know what good music is.
It's and it's really good. It makes you it feels different when you find like music on your own. Finding some like random names that not everybody knows, but it's special to you. Not everybody has to know this artist or this artist doesn't have to have like Grammy nominations every other year, but as long as it's special to you and like how that person's music makes you feel, that's all it really matters.
For sure. And one thing I'll say about music before we change gears is it has a tendency to inspire. I remember Friday nights before the game, a lot of times in order to get our mindset ready for the challenge of facing another team, what we were up against, there were certain playlists that I had that got me hyped. And the same thing even being in the military after getting out of high school, transitioning in the military. If I have, for example, like a PT test or something coming up, something that's getting ready to challenge me, I get certain playlists on and I get ready for what I deem to be the battle ahead. Now, I do want to change gears because you are a guy that for at least the last 4 years since we've been here in Tupelo, bringing our camp back to the city, you guys have been faithful in attendance and have helped in other ways. Let me ask you this. What's the biggest takeaway you've gotten as far as inspiration from being a part of our camps?
Just how important it is to finish. Every year, every camp I go to, it's hard, but that's the obstacles with playing football. It's going to be hard, but like I say every year, it's just a mindset. Instead of thinking how tired you are, how thirsty you are, or how long it's going to be, just think about what's coming next and how many things you got left. And eventually, you will see the end to it. And that's how I treat everything in life. If something's hard, or if I got to go through something hard, I do know eventually it will have an end. Just like how this fracture is doing. I do know it will be better, and next year I'll use what I have and what I've learned through this to better myself.
If you had an opportunity to talk with myself or other coaches, like what are some things you feel like we need to know moving forward to even be more impactful? Like what are some things we could do differently to impact a greater audience or to bring more kids in or to be even bigger in the community than we've been? Do you have any ideas?
Uh, I don't really think I have any ideas on that. You already do enough as much as y'all can. I see y'all with the flyers. I've seen y'all you especially on the news talking about it, having clips, trying to get as many people as you can around to it, and how good y'all are at that, and how successful it is every year. I do think y'all are doing a good job, and if y'all do think y'all can do something better, then I think y'all should do it and have faith that it will work.
For sure. And one of the reasons I ask this is a principle I really want for all of the young men and young women that we impact and we touch not even just in our football camps, but baseball, basketball, as well as some of the things we've done from the church, is to always have a feedback loop. And what I mean by that, always have people in your corner that give you feedback on where you could get better. You know, one thing you've seen as a football player, you have a coach that's always telling you, hey, you might need to run a little harder. Maybe on this next play, you might need to give a little more. There's some kind of feedback that you're given from a good coach or person that's invested in your life that's always telling you, parents do the same, where you could get better. And that's where, you know, I don't ever think, even though over the years we've impacted over thousands of kids, Tupelo, Memphis, Birmingham, South Mississippi, with what we offer, but I never feel like we've done enough. And with me doing that, I'm always asking questions like, hey, what can we do better? But for you, I want to, first of all, thank you for wanting to hop on, wanting to talk with me, wanting to have a conversation. Before we go, is there anything else you want to put out there to talk about? Any questions, anything on your heart you want to get out? Now the floor is yours to do your thing.
Well, first, thank you, Coach Mitchell. This is a real big honor, especially how of a name you are to me, and hopefully other people. And this really was like, you know, it helped. It is helping a lot, and me figuring out how this stuff runs, and like how much talking to somebody can really help. And talking to people is, sometimes it'd be hard, especially people you don't know. But like you said, this 4 year bond between you, me, and my mom, you built something really strong. So I feel like building bonds with people. That's something that can like take you really far in life. Whether it's a friend or a or a family member. Uh, bonds can just take you far and give you inspiration. And
Mm-hmm.
I do hope that whatever God does have in hand for me, whether it's playing football or doing this or something else, I have no idea. And hopefully, He brings me through it. And if there are hardships and difficulties, that He gives me the strength to fight through it and and reach the other side.
And you know, I'll say this, he will, because here's the thing, like well over 20 years, I've been in multiple communities doing a lot of things. And one thing we never get a chance to do is to hear back from the people that we have touched. Like I was just Friday night, my sons and my daughters wanted to go to Tupelo High football game. Me personally, I've never been to a Tupelo High football game. So it was I think it was homecoming actually. So we went out, went to the game, and I'm sitting there on the sidelines and I'm looking at all these kids, and like one guy tapped me on the shoulder as I was coming in, and he's been to multiple camps, and I recognized him, and I'm like, huh. And he recognized me. And then as I'm looking at a lot of the players on the field, I'm like, man, a lot of these guys have been to the camp. And because I don't like to always put my face on things, maybe some of them didn't recognize me, maybe they were locked into what they were doing. But over time, I never really get a chance to hear back from people we've impacted that not only tell us, hey, you had an impact, or just, you know, tell us what kind of influence we've had. So to have a young man that's been here for 4 years with us and that wanted to come on the show and just talk with us, man, I thank you for blessing my heart, because it's special when I see you guys coming up, growing up, gaining confidence in yourself, you know, wanting to also give back. I tell you, you got an open door with us. If you want to see how we do things behind the scenes, just a level of excellence we try to operate in, you know, we will show you everything we can, you know, help you to establish some relationships that'll help you also at your next journeys in life. You know, that's what we are here for.
And I do appreciate y'all for that. Appreciate y'all for that. How much, back to what I said earlier, how much this can affect somebody and learn from such big names. And even like, just like name wise, being able to say, hey, these people care enough to come down here and, spend time with us and teach us the stuff they've learned over their long journey. And even after spend time with us, giving signing off on stuff and showing us how much y'all do care and how much y'all put into this.
Indeed, brother. I think I'm getting ready to run out of time on this meeting, but I really appreciate you, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate your mom and your family, and just for all you guys have done for us, even helping, sometimes to help sponsor the camp. A lot of people don't know that just because it's free doesn't mean it doesn't cost, but your mom has been great also as a sponsor, and your family has supported. So I appreciate you guys. We'll be looking out for you even when you don't see us or you don't hear from us. Do know we are paying attention. And this is what we're here for. But guys, hey, listen, thank y'all for listening to this special episode of the End Zone Club podcast. Be sure to support these young people who are trying to do positive things in the community to get their voices heard. We need to really push them. So, hey, if you're listening to this episode, give some positive feedback to this young man in the comments. Give him a piece of advice, a word of advice. Give him a word of encouragement, but don't let him do this alone. And until next time, with that being said, you've listened to the End Zone Club podcast with your host, Anthony Mitchell. And this is the special episode with Mr. Vernor. Stay tuned for more.